Joining me now from Tel Aviv, Arsen Ostrovsky, an Australian-Israeli human rights lawyer and the CEO of the International Legal Forum. Arsen, welcome. I hope you're safe. I am very pleased to be able to speak to you tonight. I think all Australians are watching very closely your part of the world. You're a human rights lawyer. Explain to us the difference between what are here strategic attacks on military targets versus what Iran is doing to you in retaliation.
Sure. Thank you for having me on, Peter. I should explain, if you can see in the background here, I'm actually at the site of last night's missile attack in Tel Aviv. I'm in the middle of a residential area. There are no military targets anywhere near inside. These homes here, people live here, there are shops here. It is just purely civilians. And therein really lies the difference. So what Israel did, it was an act of aggression. It was an act of self-defense and last resort against what is a genocidal enemy that it fought Israel's destruction and stood on the cusp of doing so. Intelligence showed that they were really on the verge of creating at least a dozen or so nuclear warheads. They have time and time again sought Israel's annihilation. They've armed proxy terror groups, Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, the Houthis, of course. But herein lies the difference, and you're not in the beginning, whereas Israel has been targeting solely military targets, infrastructure targets, their nuclear weapons capabilities. Iran has been indiscriminately targeting the entire state of Israel. Every single person has been in shelter, myself, my family included. So whereas Israel is acting in its inalienable right of self-defense, what Iran is doing is a gross war crime. So there is no equivocation, and all countries, including Australia, by the way, should recognise this.
We're just talking before I spoke to you with one of our correspondents out of Canberra, and of course the Australian government here is focused on calling on restraint from Israel. Why does Israel have to restrain when an international law, proportionality and everything else applies to almost every other country but Israel?
You're right, it shouldn't. It is a relentless and systematic double standard applied to Israel that is not applied to any other country. It's disappointing to have heard from Prime Minister Wong call for such restraint. I think I would actually add that Australia's response, and I say this also as an Australian that's been in and out of shelters, has been somewhat perhaps cold and indifferent. I can tell you that if Australia was threatened with annihilation, if Australia had to sustain hundreds upon hundreds of ballistic missile attacks, sending the entire country into population, I don't think Australia would show such restraint, and nor should Israel be expected to.
What's the mood in Tel Aviv now?
Look, right now, people are cleaning up. People are outside, trying to get a sense of what happened. If I move aside here, you can see there's a lot of destruction, a lot of debris, a lot of glass around me. Look, the Israelis, in a lot of ways, like the Aussies, are a resilient bunch, and we've had to have been for a long time, and starting since October 7th. But we also understand that there's something quite serious. We're dealing with an enemy state that seeks no less than our annihilation, that is firing ballistic missiles and drones at entire civilian population areas. Australia wouldn't stand for this, nor should Israel or any other country.